Watch him throw the ball, we gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through fourth and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive, this is Trap or Dive.
Yes, sir. Welcome back to another episode of Trap or Dive Podcast. I am your host of the Trap or Dive Podcast, Mual. Dre is in here. AJ's on the way. Benz, what's up? Monty, what's up? I see you in the chat. Those that's listening and watching on the YouTube side, we always appreciate that. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you are brand new. Film session out there now. Commanders offense against the Green Bay Packers defense. I know it's been what in the world? I know it's been a few days, but you know we still got duties. You know what I'm saying? So film sessions out there now. Take a look at that. You know, we're going to talk about a little bit of the Packers as we close the book on week 2 and get ready for the Las Vegas Raiders here in a second. But again, audio side, if you are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc., hit the button. Rate and review if you can. It takes 10 seconds to do so, and it's free to show your support that way. Shout out to what's your name? Marco's 1980. He gave us a review. He broke the streak. I don't know why it's been so long since we got in a review, but shout out to Marco's for helping us out. Again, 10 seconds. 5 stars. He says the show is great. Football knowledge is excellent, but Maul, you gotta stop smacking your mouthpiece. Every 10 seconds, another smack. I know you can stop. Come on, man. I have no idea what that means. Like I have an idea what he's saying, but like I don't know what he's talking about. I really don't. Shout out to you, Marco. You gave a review, you showed some love. I will try to stop smack in my mouthpiece. Okay.
Do you wear a mouthpiece, Mo?
I got retainers, but I don't wear them on the show. I have no idea.
I mean, but you know, some people they listen, and I guess they listen to us more than we listen to ourselves. So I guess it was some little thing that he noticed. Yeah.
All right. Well, shout out to you, Marco. Appreciate the review. Trey, what's going on with you, player? How you feeling, dog?
Man, I'm trying to get my spirits up. I mean, you know, that Thursday night loss was deflating. I'm sorry, bro.
Look how much is in this.
God damn.
Hey, well, look, though. This is carrying me through both shows. I got this.
What is that? Like cognac?
It's whiskey. It's Basil Hayden. My
Basil
favorite,
Hayden.
man.
And you got it with no ice.
It ain't gonna do too much damage, man. It ain't like no hen dog, you know.
I'm actually sipping on some Russian vodka. Like I got this from somebody
that big ass boulder in your fucking glass.
Oh, you know, man, I gotta keep it cool. This will carry me over through this whole show. This piece of ice.
Yeah, nah, that's smart. I need to do you
I'm not a vodka person though.
You have to buy them Jones?
Yeah, no. So I bought I got a couple different types of things. So I like my old fashioned. So I buy the little blocks of things that you put the ice in, and I got different ones, man. Because I'm a cocktail martini guy over here. You know what I'm saying? I do the bar thing over here, Mual.
Man, Monty said, "God damn, all it's only one loss."
Hey, Monty, I'm with him though. I mean, I'm still trying to pick myself up, but we ain't too down though. It just was deflating. That's all.
Yeah, it ain't too bad, man. Look, man, ignore the glass, man. Matter of fact, where y'all glasses at? Y'all need to tweet me what y'all sipping on.
Up with us.
Yeah, let me go ahead and get AJ in here. I'm sorry. One more thing. Mitch Tischler, Monumental Sports Network, Beltway Football Podcast. I mean, if you're in the Commander Circle, then you're familiar with Mitch, but he's going to join us and talk some ball on the second half of the show. Obviously, you know what time it is. Sponsored by Underdog Fantasy as well. Promo code TrapperDive. TrapperDive. Hey, the vibes ain't too low, bro. You know what? I'm not even about to be ignorant. K's not lying. People online has really been doom or gloom. I'm not even going to bullshit them. But look, that's what we're here for. So let's go ahead and turn it up. Let's get AJ in. What was you about to say, Trey?
No, I was gonna say, it's actually setting up with how everybody is kind of down. And like I said, I see social media, the reaction and everything. I feel like it's setting up for them to come and do something much better on Sunday, where they're gonna give us a much better performance. Because I remember last year during the 3-game losing streak, which was our lowest point of the year, everyone was down. People was like, playoffs. And then what happened? You stringed off those wins late in the season. So.
One person that said, our good friend Linnell said. They lost 3 straight. He said, I think he said, bro, they ain't about to win another game this season.
Hey, that's Linnell, man. Well, hey, we love Linnell, but that's Linnell.
Yeah, man. I think people just in their feelings. It's a long week to prepare for another game. You got a lot of downtime. I mean, no one expected them to go undefeated. Like, you're gonna run into some teams and lose some games. I mean, the Eagles lost some games last year early to begin the season and won the Super Bowl. You feel me? Like, you truly don't know an NFL team until about the trade deadline. Like, there's some teams right now that are 2-0 that won't make the playoffs. Like, there's some teams 0-2 that will make the playoffs. That's just the course of the NFL. I just think that some people just got to get out they feelings. I mean, yeah, you lost Austin Eckler, Dietrich Wise, but I mean,
John Bates.
But I mean, those two I mentioned for the season. I don't know. I know nothing else about the John Bates or Noah Brown injury, how long. But it's like, at the end of the day, those are 2 guys that aren't blue chip. I mean, they can contribute, but hey, it is what it is. That's why it's a 53-man plus roster.
I don't disagree with you at all. Everything that you said is true. But what the specific aspect of where I push back is like, you can't, like, when it comes to talent and depth, it's just certain things you can't minimize with this team. Like I think this is still a top heavy roster in terms of position groups, right? Like, your receivers, Terry or Debo go down, you are shit out of luck. Tight ends, like, you lost John Bates already. And when I keep saying, because I mentioned John Bates before when he was talking, I'm not saying for the season or for an extended period of time. I also don't know if he's going to be gone this week, but the way that Dan Quinn approached the media, his media pressure yesterday, he may miss some time. So that's kind of where I make my presumptions. But like, again, like, it's a top heavy like roster, and just go down the line. I'm not going to go through it all right now on the show while we're talking, but like, just go through your roster and just see like, where exactly is the depth at? I don't think you have anybody as significant as Dietrich Wise in terms of setting the edge and playing smart football, smart disciplined football. Now, again, this ain't no doom or gloom. You can still win plenty of games without those 2. But I'm just saying, this roster, in my opinion, was a top-heavy roster when it came to most positions. It doesn't have that full depth that you would like to see just yet.
But from my standpoint, and last week, I kind of put it out there that this is the first litmus test, at least in my opinion, of the season. And then you lose the way you lose. And I see how everyone's kind of reacted to it. I mean, how do you all kind of view that? Because I'm looking at this Raiders game like this is a big game this week in terms of how do you respond? Because I feel like you got humbled, you got embarrassed on national TV. You also got 10 days to kind of sit and stew about it. How did you come out and respond? And they cannot respond flat, or they can't come out and respond with a flat performance in a sense and lose to the Raiders. Because if they do, I think that's going to kind of tell you the mental makeup of this team, because I'm expecting them to come out angry. I'm expecting them to come out, like, man, we got something to prove this week. Like, we should have an edge or a chip on their shoulder. Now, if I see that type of team, then I'm going to look at the Green Bay game and I'm going to say, well, that may have just been a one-off. Maybe they just ran into a buzzsaw. They just, maybe they weren't as prepared as they needed to be. But if they can come out and they can respond in a great fashion against the Raiders, I'm going to feel a little bit better. But I'm not going to lie to you. If they do not respond in a good way against the Raiders, I mean, regardless of the injuries, I know Jayden's dealing with what he's dealing with, but I still expect.
We can answer the question, your main question, but I was about to bring up Jayden. Like, I know, AJ, you can sit this one out because I already know you said you ain't even going to talk about it, so you can just hear us talk. But nah, like,
go ahead. I'm gonna just move myself off camera.
That's an important aspect of your question though, Dre. Like, where are you at in terms of, for those who are unaware, but I'm sure you are by now. Dan Quinn mentioned he's basically day to day. Jayden Daniels did have an MRI on his knee. It revealed a knee sprain. That's to the extent in which we know at this point. He didn't elaborate on the severity of the knee sprain. We don't know what grade the sprain is. And he said that if he meets the markers throughout the week, he'll play. Otherwise, TBD. And of course, what's the word? It's not verbatim, but that's kind of what he all said throughout that point. So where are we at with Jayden? I got some things to say, but I'll give you the floor first. I'm not going to rap about it, but I'll be quick. But I do got some things I'm a little bit passionate about.
No, and this is kind of how I feel about when fans talk about, like, why is Deebo Samuel running kickoff returns? He can get injured. I mean, if you're a football player, and Jayden, I understand its importance. And I understand, what he means to the franchise. He's the quarterback. He's the leader of it all. But if he's healthy enough to go out there and play, I trust that the coaching staff and the training staff will have his best interest and the team's best interest at heart. They're not going to send a guy out there that can risk further higher damage injury. They know how important this guy is, just like we know how important he is. So if he goes out there and play this week, fine. If he feels fine enough to play, fine. But I'm not with the whole sitting a guy out just to sit him out because we want to be precautious. No, I mean, precautious means he's not healthy enough to play. And if he's not healthy enough to play, then you're going to sit him. So that's fine. If he needs to sit a week, that's cool. That tells me that he's probably not there yet, or he probably hasn't passed whatever markers that the team has set for him. But if he's going to, give it a go and they feel like he's good enough to go, then it is what it is. He goes out there and play football. Now, I will say that I do hope that if he does go out there and play and, maybe he's not 100%. Let's say he's at 80%, 85%, which is fine. I mean, a lot of pro athletes play that way. I know a lot of people don't want to see Jayden go out there and play unless he's 100%, but he'll tell you differently. He did it last year. But if he's at around 80 to 85%, I do want to see the coaching staff protect them a little bit out there and not put him in some of those quarterback design runs. Now, if it's a scramble and Jayden's feeling the pressure and he's instinctive and he's running on a quarterback drop back, that's fine as long as he protects himself. But I don't want to see the coaching staff put him in unnecessary danger. But again, if he goes out in the field, I'm going to assume that they do not fear further injury and that he's healthy enough to go out there and play. And I think that to me, I'm just not with the whole, just sit him, man, rest him, put him on ice for 2-3 weeks or whatever. No, that's not how professional athletes work.
Yeah. I don't like my main thing is, and my main pushback to people is like, y'all got to understand the business that they're in, right? They're in the business of winning football games and making sure that their best players are on the field at all costs. Secondly, I'm talking about from a coaching and team standpoint, but secondly, the players are super competitive to the point where, like, if they feel like they can play, they're going to play. what benefits teams and what benefits players is having a competent medical staff that can navigate both sides of the aisle. And I think for Jayden, he can do and say whatever he wants to do and say. And same thing with the coaches in terms of how they feel. At the same time, like that medical staff is there to be the objective reasoning for why or why not, or why he cannot play for that given Sunday. And I think honestly, when you look at a situation like Jayden and you see a person who is first off young, but also good enough, like if his 80% is available, I'm exaggerating, I can say 90, right? If his 90% is available, that's better than Mariota, Josh Johnson, Sam Hartman combined at their 100%. Like those are things that I think about when it comes to when it comes to Jayden Daniels. And what bothers me is like, I think the main thing when you think about it, like the dude told you at the end of the year, in the offseason, that he played those 3 games with broken ribs. Now, I don't know, like sometimes people slice things, like especially when you just talking shit. You talking to shit with people that you know. Yeah, I broke my ribs playing through the joint, whatever. He may have been slicing it just a little bit, but the bottom line is whatever they put out in the media and they reported, it was worse than the report. And I say that to say they're not going to put him out there on their end if they feel like he can structurally damage whatever ligament or body part that is injured. And I just feel like people got to understand that aspect of it. It's like it's not, the ribs are not the same as the knee, but the principle of the situation is the exact same. If he can tolerate the pain and it's like the swelling has went down and it just may be sore and he can play and they know that he can't get hurt any further, he's going to be out there. They're going to be out there. At the end of the day, this is a nothing burger for me. Whether he misses a game or not, it's a nothing burger. I'm not too concerned about his future for the rest of the season. I'm not too concerned about him if he does play. If he gets hurt, something backfires. Like if he was out there, he was good enough to play at the time and they made the right decision. That's kind of where I'm at.
And I just want to challenge Stay Golden. We'll push back a little bit on what he said. He didn't miss any games last year due to injury. Now, he went out early in the Carolina game due to injury, but he didn't miss a game. And technically, he hasn't missed anything this year. We don't know if he's going to miss a game. He may play on Sunday, so I don't want to be presumptuous. But again, even if he does, let's say he does miss a game, that happens throughout the league. A lot of quarterbacks miss games. Lamar Jackson gets injured pretty often. Look at Joe Burrow. He misses seasons every other season. So, I mean, it happens throughout the league. I mean, I know we're concerned because we love Jayden, and, we know how big he is to this franchise, but he's not a porcelain doll. Like, it's football. He's going to play through injuries, but I think the kid is tough. And if you look at his, his history throughout college and even so far in the pros, he doesn't have a history of missing a lot of games. Like I said, you may have that one game that he's taken out of for injury, but he seems pretty tough and he seems to bounce back. So, I mean, we just got to have a little bit more trust. I understand that we got RG3 PTSD, but that was years ago.
Don't say that name on the show.
Different.
Respectfully.
Hey, respectfully, I understand, but that was years ago. We're in a new era, and we just, we got to watch these guys go out there and compete, man. Give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I'm with you. Now, I guess that's the last thing. Like quarterbacks play through injuries, players play through injuries. People gotta like understand that part and stop treating this dude like he's a soft baby. Like let the motherfucker play if he can play, bro. And if he can't play, we'll figure that. We'll cross that road when they get there. And to your question, Dre, now that we done finally answered the Jayden side of things, how big is this game? My man James in the chat, he said that they need to respond like Detroit did, probably not scoring 52 points, but need to be dominant at the same time. I understand that, but I don't think we know exactly how good or bad the Raiders are just yet. They played 2 divisional games. They got Gino is the one who really stunk it up against the Chargers last night, and then boy put up 300 against the Patriots, and looked good doing it. So I just think it's kind of like a team where you just don't know exactly where they are yet. They're still figuring themselves out with the Pete Carroll transition, right? He brought his whole Seattle crew basically over there in a sense. So like we don't know what that team is, but Washington, you need to find your answers at offensive line. You need to get a running game. I think your best bet, if you're going to keep the same 5 up there, you cannot run the ball just 12 times with your running backs. And also that helps out if Jayden does play. That helps out your quarterback instead of taking so many dropbacks. I think this is a game where you just got to find an identity to stick with and like really emphasize it. It like the fact that younger players on the offensive line are struggling so much in the pass game, and that's just 2 specifically in Brandon Coleman and Josh Connolly. Nick Allegretti been assing it up too. Like it ain't looking good for 3 guys. And that's kind of my overarching theme right now. Like I know we're waiting on Sam Cosmi to come back, and that'll help improve the lineup. But this combination right now, bro, it's only 2 games in. But I couldn't wait a few more games to say what I'm thinking about the offensive line. They shuffled it from last year, but it ain't. I don't even think it's better than last year's offensive line right now. Like I don't see a drastic improvement even with the addition of Laramie Tunsil. Like there's still problems on the offensive line, and there's worse problems on the offensive line because people are getting outright beat damn near every single drop back. If it's not one person, it's another person. So like, I think with this offensive line, they really need to find answers because if you can't wait on Sam Cosmi to get back, and you got Andrew Wiley as your backup, like what can you do with Wiley that can help out this offensive line if you need to make a change, or what can you do to help out Coleman and Connolly? Like,
Chris Paul.
I think, that's what I'm saying. Like, what are these changes or adjustments that they have to make? And I think if you're not going to go the substitution route, you got to find a way to be run dominant because these guys in the run game, I trust them 10 times more in the run game than I do in straight drop back passing situations. Those guys are struggling, and I don't want to see them struggle again with Max Crosby on the way in a few days.
Yeah, and playing against a Max Crosby after, going against Micah Parsons and the Giants deal, you should have a sense of something, a better game plan going in because now you kind of know what you have on the offensive line. You have struggling guys on the offensive line. So how do you get these guys into some kind of rhythm? Like I was just mentioning, Chris Paul is an option. I think he looked pretty good when he came in for Brandon Coleman the other day. I mean, he was probably one of the few linemen, even though he didn't play a lot of snaps, but he didn't make the same mistakes that a lot of those other guys were making. So, I mean, you have to find something that works because it's kind of disrupting everything on the offense right now. And like I'm saying, looking forward to this Raiders game, I don't necessarily need a blowout win or anything. I mean, I want us to look good. Of course, I would love a blowout win, but you need to get a win for one. But you need to find something that looks good, like something to feel good about this team going forward. Because right now, it's a lot of question marks. We don't know what we feel good about right now. Like the offense has looked out of sync really kind of 2 games. The defense looked good one game, but then game 2, they looked like the worst part of the defense that you saw last year, like to the point where you're questioning the communication issues. What is Joe Witt doing to get these guys prepared? Like why were they getting beat all day on the same stuff by Green Bay? Like Green Bay's just running man beaters. Why didn't you have an adjustment for that? So they have to have something against the Raiders that makes you feel good going forward. I mean, again, it doesn't have to be a blowout win, but at least something to say, okay, man, the offense is picking it up. Oh, man, the defense really stepped it up today. So that's what I'm kind of looking for. And the offensive line, it definitely starts there. And also, I'm looking at the defensive line as well. Like, how do you replace Dietrich Wise? Like, who steps up in his position? Like, I know they called up Jalen Holmes. I mean, he's not a Dietrich Wise, but I know they liked him from last year. But somebody has to, step up on both sides of those lines.
Yeah, man. I think I'll say it once again. I'll keep saying it because even if they win games or whatever, I still feel like this is a comment for every team in the NFL. You truly don't know what you have in your team until trade deadline. I mean, when you're starting off the season going against, a Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, and you need that continuity as an offensive line in order to play as a unit and communicate effectively. Whereas as pass rushers, you just got to get after the quarterback. y'all ain't really got to talk about much. I mean, yeah, you could rush in unison, but at some point, if you're a guy that can win your one-on-one matchups like a Abdul Carter, like a Brian Burns, it looks much different. And then when you also going against Green Bay Packers, where they're essentially asking those guys to do the same thing, just attack the ball, play fast, and a Micah Parsons, Luka Van Ness, uh, Devontae Wyatt, Rashawn Gary, like it looks different. Your offensive line is going to look like it needs more time together. It needs more continuity. I think now when you play the Raiders, for example, going against a Max Crosby, it's easier to isolate one guy versus a bunch of guys. So I'm not gonna be as harsh on the offensive line. Of course, like yeah, you want to see guys play better overall, but I think it's a long season, and I think that you can't necessarily bench a guy like Josh Connolly Jr. because then what do you do next? You feel me? If Andrew Wiley comes in and steps up huge, now what do you do? Like you pretty much are saying that you wasted your pick at
No,
right
you're not.
tackle.
No, you're
I
not.
mean, let's
No, you're
keep it a
not.
buck. Like, how can you say you not? Like, are you expecting him to get better the
There's
following year?
no, you don't have to. If you're benching, just because you bench Connolly for X amount of games doesn't mean that his career is over. Like that's just all right. Let's give you some more time on the side because right now we can't afford to wait
Time
and
to
see
do
what's
what
going on with
though? What are we
we
giving
can't
you time to do?
we don't have time to afford like the first off the Green Bay Packers game was the most that Jayden Daniels has gotten hit, pressured, etc. in his entire 19, 20 games as a professional. And I think for Washington to experience that moving forward throughout the season, bro, that's not sustainable. That's not sustainable for any offense, bro. Like the offense, the first 2 weeks of the season, you had 200 plus yards rushing against the Giants, and that is not something I am negating, right? One thing I did say, run the ball way more, not a little bit more, run the ball way more. You're gonna help out this first five. Those five guys, you're gonna help them out. But at the same time, if you keep dropping back, you're gonna have liabilities. And you would rather have a guy that you had in there last year just for the time being because you can't afford to keep dropping Jayden back. And he's literally having 2 seconds, not even a full three that it typically takes to find a guy and get the ball at your hands. He's having 2 seconds to try and make a move or to try and make a decision or he's on the move. And like I don't think that's beneficial to the offense at times because Jayden is actually missing people and there's on the film like you can see moments where he actually has time and he's either scrambling off his mark, or he's throwing it to a check down, giving up on the play too soon. And I think those are side effects to like the actual cause or the root cause of the problem, which is this offensive line is really not giving too much time. Now, granted, the receiver part is important as well. They aren't separating. They aren't creating opportunities for Jayden. I get that. That's another conversation. But if we're talking about the offensive line by itself, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like, so if you want to slow walk and baby Josh Connolly, don't put him out there week one, because the reality is if he's not able to handle his assignment effectively, and you feel the need that you might have to put in somebody else, you're pretty much saying that it's not working, bro. Like it's no different than the Brandon Coleman situation last year. Like they betted on the fact that this third round pick was going to be their left tackle, and he ended up not being able to be that guy. And now they moved him to guard, and he's struggling there for the time being right now. But then you also have Cosme that's probably coming back in 2 more weeks. So now you're gonna have Connerly learning next to next to Cosme a different guard than who it is currently. It's just a lot of things, but I feel like I want to slow down the conversation and just realize like there's dogs that they played against on that other side. You know, even Lermy Tunzel has had his wins and losses against those guys, but at the end of the day, those are dogs. And I just feel like when we focus on the Green Bay game, the scheme overall, the plan, the game plan, offensively and defensively, were terrible. They got outcoached, and it is what it is. But I just, hope
Well,
that
that
people,
I agree with that.
yeah, I just hope that people take it a little bit easy. Um, yeah, I don't think it's anything to panic about. I think people may be panicking because it's like, damn, Green Bay did that. What is Philly gonna do? Well, Philly a different beast. You feel me? As far as like players, Michael Parsons is a major factor. Like no matter where you line him up, he's going to beat his guy 1-on-1 because he's strong. He has speed to power. He's just a different dude. And now you add him into the mix with some other guys that can get after the quarterback and an aggressive defensive play caller who doesn't feel threatened by your outside wide receivers. He had them boys sitting on everything, and rightfully so. I would have did the same thing because I'm not necessarily scared of Debo beating me deep. I'm not scared of Terry necessarily beating me deep, and I know you don't even have time to even look downfield. So, yeah, we're
Yeah,
gonna have our corner sit on you the whole game.
man. Third and six or longer. All he did was do soft cover two, let the 4-man rush get there, and knew that the ball had to come out quick. And every cornerback just drove as soon as Jayden planted to make his throw because they knew like he wasn't going to take that seam shot. He wasn't going to split the middle of the field. He didn't have time to do it, and he probably didn't trust himself either way. So, Dre, I don't know if you had any thoughts on that. We can get to our underdog.
Yeah, go ahead and get the underdog. I'm good.
Cool. All right, let me tell y'all about these people over here at Underdog Fantasy. Look, man. Let me remove you, Moneyball. What's up? Where you at? Hold on. Where you at? All right. Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Let me tell you about the play that I got for Thursday. All right. So, Dolphins going up against the Bills. It's 6 players, right? We got a Tariq Hill sighting, the cheetah. I got him higher on his rushing and receiving touchdowns. Man, I know y'all wanted the cheetah in DC after, a couple weeks. I seen it online. I see you. He gonna show out on Thursday, and then he's not getting traded anywhere. Higher on his rushing and receiving touchdowns, 0.5. Tua Tagovailoa. I know I butchered his name, but that's not intentional. I just don't know how to say it. We're gonna go higher on his passing yards.
I gotta interrupt this read. What the hell did you just say?
Tua Tagovailoa.
All right, bro.
Tua
Tagovailoa.
Where the Tonga at? I don't even see Tonga in his last name.
No, all right, just keep going with your read, but no way in hell, bro.
Tua Tagovailoa. 234.5 passing yards. We're gonna go higher. Josh Allen. We're gonna go higher on his rushing yards, 25.5. James Cook. We're gonna go higher on his receiving yards at 11.5. Dalton Kincaid. Higher on his receptions, 2.5. Devon Achane. We're going to go higher on his rush yards, 44.5. Last week, we lost. If you played it, we lost by 1 player. That was Austin Eckler. Unfortunately, he got hurt. And we was 20 yards away from winning. But that's neither here nor there. Download the app today. Sign up using promo code TRAPTORDIVE to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code TRAPTORDIVE. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks. Win money.
18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Hey, let me make sure I am not muted. Okay, cool. All right, so like I said, Mitch Tischler of the Beltway Football Podcast, Monumental Sports Network, is joining the fellas right now. Mitch, how you doing over there? You can hear us loud and clear? Oh, Lord. Okay. All right. Can y'all hear me, Dre, AJ?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes,
So y'all
sir.
can hear me. Okay. Let me go ahead and message Mitch backstage, and we can get this situated. All right. Try and leave studio and join back. It might be. Okay.
You guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
There we
I
go.
got you guys.
Oh, all right, cool. There it is.
Sorry about
All right, Mitch, what's going on with you, boss man? How you feeling?
I'm doing great. How about you guys?
Trying to feel great.
Doing good. Still wondering why my co-host can't pronounce Tua's last name.
Well, you're not gonna make me do it again. It's already.
Let's hear it.
Already in the front.
Let's hear it.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Maul took the lazy way out with his name. It's the laziest way you can say his name.
Look, when I read it, because he said, "What'd you say, Tagovailoa?"
Tagovailoa.
Where do you come from? I don't get it.
Hey, man. When you hear
It's
it
not
enough
American.
times from college football to NFL, you just understand how to say that man's name. But I ain't never ever heard his name pronounced the way that you said it. Like it was
Tagliatelle pasta.
Look, man. Sometimes if they shouldn't put them on the options to play as totals if you don't want people making plays on it. You know what I'm saying? But skip to it. We ain't worried about Tua right now. Mitch, talk to us. You are you're in Ashburn daily. You obviously at the games as well. You get to watch the team from your perspective a little bit closer than obviously us creating a podcast on the outside. But like, where are your thoughts at with? Let's start with the big picture. Like 2 games in, you get a game where you dominate the Giants from a defensive standpoint, and you could have put up 30 plus on these guys. And then the exact opposite happens the following week, where you thought, like, from a team perspective, the hopes were high going into that Thursday night game. You wanted to see like what they were really made of defensively. You didn't know, and I'm speaking for myself, that like it was a team out there who can stop Jayden the way in which the Packers did. And they end up in that game really getting dominated, and the score should have been a little bit more separated than it actually was, or further away in terms of the margin of victory. Like, where are you at with the team 2 games in, and obviously heading into week 3 against the Raiders?
Yeah, I take a little bit of the Thursday with the Packers with a grain of salt, just because it was a Thursday game in week 2 of the season. So you don't even get settled into the season before you get thrown this massive curveball playing on Thursday. That being said, that game was atrocious. I think the game plan was poor. I think the execution was poor. I thought the team didn't come out aggressive, which has been a hallmark of the Dan Quinn teams. So I don't think it's as great as it was week 1 against the Giants, but I don't think the sky is falling and there's a referendum that the season is over after a bad showing against the Packers. It's not apples to apples, but I go back to last year and you look at how poorly they played in week 1 against the Bucs, and then they came back and beat that team in the playoffs. And certainly new coaching staff, Jayden's first game, lots of things to talk about in that Bucs game last year. But you can look at it yourself getting dominated at some point in the season, and Dan Quinn and company came back and rebounded and beat that team when it mattered most.
So, Mitch, I know that you are a guy that pays close attention to offensive line play, whether that be in training camp, preseason, and regular season. Who concerns you most on this offensive line currently? Is it the right tackle, Josh Connolly Jr., or Brandon Coleman at left guard?
I mean, it's got to be, I guess right now you got to say Josh Connolly, but I think Nick Allegretti ranks pretty highly up there too. He's struggled on the right side, and I think both of those guys struggling at the same time has made things look worse for both of them, in that you're not really getting, either one you're not getting particularly solid play out of either one, particularly against the Packers. Michael Parsons is, kind of a one-off, but, you had the wow bad play from Connolly with Thibodeau rushing the quarterback in week 1, kind of getting underneath him. But overall, it wasn't as bad as maybe that one play was week 1. I do think that the John Bates injury threw this team off pretty badly early on in that game. I mean, he's obviously a blocking stud. We all know that. Anyone who's listening to this podcast knows that. But when he came out, they kind of tried to replace him a little bit with Jeremy McNichols, a little bit with Ben Sennett. And to me, I think the progression that you need to see from this offensive line is to revert back to some of the things we saw last year, early in the season with Cliff Kingsbury, which is not just having a running back chip, but having a running back stay in and help protect the quarterback. Not just having a tight end chip, having a tight end stay on the line. And then you have, obviously fewer people out in the pattern. But if you can protect Jayden in that pocket, we saw last year, how he can pick apart defenses. I think that has to be the number one thing. Because after Bates went out, you had McNichols in a couple of times trying to chip Micah Parsons. And it was like a fly trying to bite a rhino. He just kind of like bounced right off him. And what happens is Connerly takes his pass set with the assumption that he's getting that chip and he's getting that help from the outside. And when that chip isn't effective, all of a sudden Parsons has all the room on the outside to go rush the quarterback because Connerly is set on the inside thinking that he's getting help on the outside. And so certainly, Connerly wasn't good. I'm not making any excuses for Connerly in any way, shape, or form. But there are other things you can point to that have hurt this offensive line.
I was just going to add, and y'all can ask the next question, but I was going to add, like, I saw that, but then there was also instances where, like, I think just his general pass sets, like, he's oversetting too sometimes. Like, he's getting too far outside that allow, and not even too far. Like, he's just trying to match Micah's speed, and, like, he's just playing the natural counter. Like, you overset, I'm winning inside. And, like, I think his overall quickness, again, you already mentioned it. Micah is a one-off. But I just think, generally speaking, I don't think he has like that feel yet for just generally NFL speed with some of the first two teams that he's come across.
We've all been overwhelmed in our lives with one thing or another. And I am sure, Connerly was, that's trial by fire against Micah, particularly after the Bates injury. They left him one-on-one far, far, far too often, particularly on those third downs. And I know for Cliff, it's a balance of protecting the quarterback, but also getting enough bodies out into the passing play, particularly with the amount of zone that the Packers were playing. You need to high-low those zones. You need to manipulate them. And if you have too many bodies that are staying in to help block, it's tough to beat a zone. It's tough to beat a zone, with only 2 or 3 guys running routes. All that being said, I think that there's a lot of things to critique from Thursday night, and I'm not forgetting Thursday night happened. But I do think there'll be a different ball game this week when they've had 10 days to prepare, recuperate, kind of get back going. I think, and the Raiders obviously aren't nearly the team that the Packers are.
And Mitch, I wanted to ask, since we can kind of stay on the offensive line here, because before you got on, we were kind of debating how do you go forward with Josh Connerly. I think AJ is in the sentiment that you let him go out there and you keep him playing him in the fire. And I kind of tend to agree with AJ. And I think Mual probably leans towards maybe you can put a Wiley in there for a couple of games to kind of mitigate whatever struggles he's having.
I'm cool with Connerly. I'm cool with Connerly. I'm just like, I'm more open to the idea. Like, if he keeps struggling, I'm more open to the idea of moving him. Like, I'm not set on Connerly. Just keep playing regardless of anything.
Right. Now, with that said, let's put you in DQ's shoes. How do you handle Connerly going forward? Like, what kind of leash do you give Connerly?
He's got a long leash to me. I mean, I mid-game pulling Connerly, which I saw a lot of fodder on Twitter and social media, we're not about wanting to get him out of there, that Packers game. You can't crush a kid's confidence early. All that being said, he's got to go out and play better, no question. Where I would make the move is I would move Wiley inside to play right guard next to Connerly, give him a little bit more comfort with your guy on the inside there. And then I'm having, if Bates isn't able to go this week, I'm having Sennett, I'm having Chris Rodriguez, I'm having Bill, I'm having these guys, leaning to the right side. And your first look is Max Crosby, Josh Connerly, how's that playing out? And going from there.
Okay. I thought we had another O-line question coming in. All right. So Mitch, when you think about defensively, I do want to talk about Jayden, but we talked a lot about offensive line right now. But when you talk about the defense, um, it's hard to kind of see like what the truth is, given the differences between two games and the Giants and the Packers. But like, who do you think is like playing up to par, and then who do you think is kind of like underwhelming right now based on your expectations heading into the season?
I think Dorrance Armstrong has been fantastic through the first 2 weeks. He's looked really good. I think for the most part, you can say the run defense has been better. Obviously, against the Giants, it was good. Against Josh Jacobs, not quite so much. But I will say, and maybe it's DQ talking glass half full. They didn't give up any big explosive runs. They were kind of, death by 1,000, stabs or whatever. But I think that you're seeing them be more responsible in the run game. And I think that starts up front. I think Javon Kinlaw and Daron Payne are the duo that, we or the coaching staffs thought, John Allen and Daron Payne may be. I think I really like what I've seen from Dorrance Armstrong. I think with the Dietrich Wise injury, I think Jacob Martin needs a little bit more time on the field. He's looked good getting after the quarterback a couple times. The number one biggest player that I think, he's not on the D line, but front seven is I think you got to see Frankie Louvu step up a little more. He was such an impact player last year, and we haven't felt him this year yet. And folks are having fun online about the Josh Jacobs running him over at the goal line on the way in. He's getting, I don't know if you guys saw it, he's getting tugged from behind by an O-lineman. So as he kind of starts going in, you see his body start falling back before Jacobs even gets to him. But I want to see Louvu be more impactful across the board. And I'm not saying necessarily getting after the quarterback in the run game, in the pass game, across the board. I want to see a little bit more from him.
So I want to ask you, I'll just come out here and say it. I'm not a huge fan of Quan Martin, especially when he's playing center field. What do you think about this safety group? With Quan Martin rotating from being in the box to playing center field. Also, Will Harris, who we knew very little about, but we've now been able to see him in 2 games, has shown some capabilities of being able to play some pass coverage, but then we know what happened, when he went for that tackle against Croft. What do you think about this safety group overall?
I'm fine with them. To me, safeties are starting to fall into the kind of running back of the defense, where like they're pretty replaceable unless you have one of those kind of top 3-4 guys. Like I don't know that you need to go crazy spending on them. I like Quan Martin a lot. I thought he had a good season last year, and he has an opportunity to take a really big step this year. I think with Will Harris and Jonathan Jones as well, and honestly, you look at a lot of the additions on the defense, I think it just raises kind of the overall floor. You have guys who aren't going to go out and make spectacular plays, but in general are pretty solid guys. I know Will Harris got beat on the touchdown to Tucker Kraft on Thursday, but I mean, he should have been in better position. That was a pretty cute little play design from the Packers there, where they had the 3 tight ends on the outside. Tucker was set off the line. Your 2 guys on the line kind of crashed down, and he snuck out the back end. It was a nice little play. You want to see Will Harris play it better, but I like what I've seen from him. I like Quan Martin a lot. Honestly, the secondary, I know Marshawn had some struggles on Thursday, but for the most part, the secondary hasn't been my qualm with this defense. It's been linebackers, and it's been stopping those middle runs.
I think some of the 2 biggest plays that came from the tight ends, honestly, was from Bobby Wagner's like miscommunication and mishaps. Like dog of a player, great leader. And that's actually is not even actually an indictment on Bobby, but more so like credit to Green Bay. Like the way they dressed it up, like had Bobby Wagner confused, and he gave up one, the big one to Tucker Kraft, and I think the second one was to Tucker too. But two big plays to tight ends, and it was on Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on the Jordan McGee train since they drafted him. I love the kid. I think he's ultimately the replacement for Bobby, assuming he can get his health together and get out there, more consistently. But not that you want to take Bobby Wagner off the field on passing downs because it's not that direct. But I do think, particularly this week, when you look at what the Raiders are going to bring to the table and Brock Bowers and all that, I want to see a little more speed, a little more physicality, and I think Jordan McGee can really help them out from the linebacker position in the pass game. And I think we talked about Frankie Louvu needing to be a little bit better. Maybe Louvu's getting after the quarterback, and then you have McGee and McGee and Bobby kind of back in coverage a little bit. I think there's a couple different ways that they can dress it up, and quite frankly, I think that Joe Witt is the guy to take care of it. I think he will take care of it. Covering or being around the Burgundy and Gold for as many years, tight ends have killed this team for years.
Yes.
Last year, tight end wasn't as big of a problem as other spots, and for it to pop up this year, kind of, I'm sure you guys talked about it, but kind of the same with Jayden and the knee. People are so quick to have their PTSD from, RG3 with the knee and then other tight ends killing us, 5 to 10 years ago that, I think it maybe gets a little overemphasized. But I do think that there's some small tweaks that they can make, particularly as the season. I don't know if it's going to happen Sunday right away, but I think these are small tweaks that they'll make as the season kind of goes on.
And Mitch, I wanted to ask you, because I tend to agree with you. Yeah, we have dogs too.
I was say we all got dogs.
Yeah.
I didn't know if Mitch was. I didn't know if Mitch was in a Mortal Kombat fatality or what.
I muted. You guys didn't hear that, right?
Yeah, we
Oh,
heard.
no, we didn't hear
too.
anything. Yep, we didn't hear anything at all.
But it was dog
Get
talk.
over here.
It is. It is. Scorpion. But no, Mitch, and I tend to agree with you in the sense that you say you want to take this Green Bay game with a grain of salt because you may have just ran into the perfect storm, the buzzsaw, so to speak. But with that said, I personally feel like this not Oakland, I'm sorry. Right? This Las Vegas Raiders game is a huge game in terms of how they respond. And I really think you can kind of find out a lot about this team this week. And I think this is a huge game. Like, how do you view this Raiders game? And honestly, like, if you asked me this 2 weeks ago, I would have never went into week 3 against the Raiders thinking this was some big game or this was some big test for the team or a must-win game. But I'm almost kind of there because I feel like if you have a bad week or a bad showing, then there's not much confidence to kind of instill into anyone that this can change or this is going to be better this season. So do you think this is a huge game against the Raiders coming up?
It's a get-right game. I mean, the Raiders are a fine team. I think when you look at specifically what killed the Commanders on Thursday, tight end and edge rusher, you go in and now you're playing, one of the top edge rushers in Max Crosby, one of the top tight ends in Brock Bowers. You have an opportunity to kind of focus on those major players and not let them be difference makers on the field. But when you take a total look at this Raiders team, defense is solid. Their offense is solid. But if the Commanders go out and play their game, this game should look a lot more like the Giants game than it does the Packers game. Geno Smith is a fine quarterback, but he's a statue back there. The Commanders are tied for first in the NFL in pressures. On a quarterback, they should be able to get to Geno instead of just pressuring him. They should be able to go make some plays there. You have an immediate opportunity to address the Josh Connerly, Max Crosby matchup. He's now seen, 2 pretty dynamic edge rushers in his first 2 weeks, or maybe even more than that if you want to count multiple Giants edge rushers. Max Crosby is the next guy on the list. Every week there's going to be somebody who gets after the quarterback well from the edge position. So I think that, it's going to be easy to focus on tight end, edge rusher. But overall, if the Commanders come out and play, as they did in week 1 against the Giants, it should be a pretty similar game. I'm not saying that they're going to go out and score 30 plus, but there's no reason that this Raiders offense should go out and put up a bunch of points. Ashton Genty's a nice piece. He hasn't rushed for more than 50 yards, right, in his first 2 games. He's averaging 2.5, 3 a pop. He's I'm sure he'll become a good running back, and he's a hard runner, and he might pop some guys, but they haven't shown much proclivity for big plays out of that offense, and that's something that the Commanders should be able to jump on.
So if they lose this game, is the sky falling?
No, it's still only week 3.
Okay, all right.
Listen, it makes what the road coming up mean that much more, because you're now going on the road to Atlanta. You have the Chargers and
Chiefs.
Chiefs coming up, right? Like you have some tough road games
Falcons.
coming up. But like the sky's not, barring something catastrophic happening number 5, the sky's not falling.
Yeah, and that's what I want to get you out of here on, Mitch. Man, I appreciate your time. I just what's your opinion on Jayden? I listen to your podcast, so I know your thoughts. But for the people who haven't heard your thoughts on Jayden, what's your thoughts on should he or should he not play? Should he take time off, etc. with the knee sprain diagnosis?
So I think the knee sprain diagnosis is about as general as you can get. Doesn't really tell you a whole lot about what's going on, whether it's bone bruise, whether it's a ligament or tendon sprain. At the end of the day, if there's no structural damage there, I think you should be out there. But I also trust this medical staff and this coaching staff to do what they can to take care of the guy. And so I think ultimately I trust that they're going to do what's best for him. We're not going to get much information between today and Sunday at 10 a.m. or so on what's going on with Jayden's knee. I don't expect he's going to practice a whole lot. Maybe he gets a limited in on Thursday and maybe on Friday. But ultimately, he's going to be on the field at 10 or 11 a.m., working out that leg, working out that knee, getting a feel for how it works, and then the medical staff will make a call whether he can go or not. We know Jayden as a person is about as hyper-competitive as it gets. He might be cool and calm, when we see him and talk to him, but that dude is a competitor and wants to be out there. And so I think that he will push to be out there as much as he can, but ultimately, Dan Quinn and the medical staff are going to be the ones that are going to make that final call. At the end of the day, if there's no risk for a further injury, if it's merely, and I say merely like it's no big deal, but just merely dealing with the pain to be out there, he should absolutely go out and play and be there. But I have all the faith in Marcus Mariota in the world if they end up going the other direction. And quite frankly, maybe I'm taking the Raiders team a little too lightly after watching them a little bit in the first 2 weeks. But I think Mariota goes out there and can get them just as comfortable a win as Jayden can.
Here it is, Mitch. I want to get it for the plug. Anything and everything else that you got going on. Appreciate your time as always, man. And hopefully we get you down the line. We talk about a winning streak of sorts. But yeah, floor is yours.
Absolutely. Just Beltway football. JP Finley and myself, Monumental Sports. I know you guys do a live stream right after the game ends, where we do one usually about an hour after. So come listen to you guys and then come switch over.
Y'all don't take our viewers for real.
No, it's a team effort here.
Yep, smooth transition.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Rise and tide lifts all ships, baby. That's what we're at.
Yeah.
Check us out, Beltway Football, Monumental Sports, at Mitch_Tischler on all your socials. And yeah, that's all I got for you.
All righty, boss man. Hey, enjoy the rest of your week. Stay safe. And we'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, guys.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. There is Mitch Tischler. Fellas. Good show. Jay Tizzy, I see you in the chat. As always, if you're listening live, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so. I think we're good. We've covered everything we need to cover. We really didn't even talk too much about the Packers game, which is cool. I can update the title. we focus on other things, bigger and better things. Last thing for everybody. This Thursday, we are live at 6 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to catch us live, we're live on this Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern instead of 7 p.m. Eastern. All 32 regular time, tomorrow 7 p.m. Eastern. Just a difference in time on Thursday. So that's it. We'll see y'all live again Thursday, and then obviously post game regular time. Dre, AJ, man, y'all stay safe. Hopefully we can lock in these plans that we got for the gang that I can't say right now. Fingers crossed. I'll leave it there. But till next time. Oh, you know what? I actually do want to talk to y'all about something. Not on the show, but I'm glad I thought about it. I'm gonna text y'all when it's over because I do think this is actually pretty important. So yeah, I'll talk to y'all in a second. Everybody in the chat, we'll see y'all Thursday and all 32 tomorrow as well. So take it easy. I'll be safe, all the good stuff. Peace.
Chop it down, chop it down, chop it down, you gon' chop it down. Chop it down, you gon' chop it down. Down, set, watch him throw the ball, we gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through fourth and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Dive.